2 weeks have passed and it is time for another character to join Sega Heroes. So hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, because in today's character overview we are looking at Virtua Fighter's Kage-Maru. As always with these character overviews, before we go into Cage's in-game statistics in Sega Heroes, let's have a brief history of Kage. Kage-Maru is a 10th generation Hagakure ninja in Virtua Fighter. His fighting style, taught to him by his father, the 9th generation Hagakure Jujitsu, a fictional martial arts that's based on Jujitsu. When he lost his mother, the 8th generation father, and the entire village, Kage entered into the first world tournament to shut down Judgment 6. While investigating Judgment 6, they sent an attack helicopter after him, but Kage was able to destroy it. However, when he learned that his mother was still alive, he was able to rescue her after the second world tournament. They were able to live in peace for a short time, but when she transformed back into Jural, he entered the 5th tournament to end her suffering and stop Judgment 6. Kage is the most decorated competitor, having won the 3rd and 4th tournament. He has defeated several combatants such as Akira twice, Lao Chan, Lion Raphael, Shundi and Jural twice. Although Kage normally conceals his emotions behind a face of stone, he is a warm-hearted person who tears up when he thinks about his mother. Kage has a grass flute that he uses to play a lullaby from his childhood in the Hagakure village. And here is a fun fact about Kage. Did you know Kage appeared as an unlockable character in the Dreamcast wrestling game Giant Gram? His entrance music was his Virtua Fighter 3 theme. With Kage's brief history out the way, let's move on to his in-game statistics in Sega Heroes. His hero color is yellow, his rarity is legendary, his type is support, and his match damage is physical. Kage's max skill is Hagakure. Kage leaps into a spinning dropkick on the target. This has a mana cost of 10. This deals physical damage to the target, of which will increase as you level up this max skill. This will also inflict stun and vulnerable for 3 turns. If you don't know what stun does, this prevents the enemy from taking any actions for the select amount of turns, and vulnerable will increase the amount of physical damage that the opponent will take, and this will also create a random star tile. So he is a support, and there is not really any support in this ability except the random star tile, which can be helpful to trigger other members of your team's star skill, or even Kage's star skill himself. As for the debuffs, stun is very welcome to bide you some time, and vulnerable will be great if you're rocking a physical team, and it'll also help out with Kage himself. It has a pretty decent mana cost, so you should be using this quite frequently throughout the battle. Not much to say apart from that, so let's move on to his star skill, Fussen Renyaku. Kage spins into a cartwheel kick, knocking his opponent off balance. Now, to get this to trigger, you have to match a yellow star tile or a yellow superstar tile. This deals physical damage to the target, of which will increase as you level up the star skill. This will also inflict accuracy down to the target for 4 turns, and Kage will gain elusive for 3 turns. If you didn't know what accuracy down does, this decreases the hit chance of the opponent's attacks, and elusive means that Kage will not be targeted unless he is the last character standing. Also, if this skill is triggered by a superstar tile, bleed will also be inflicted on the target for 4 turns. Now again, we have some more debuffs and we have a buff thrown in there. Is he a support character? I think he is so far, because he seems to be supporting himself. He inflicts bleed if you trigger it with a superstar tile. That combined with vulnerable means that the opponent will be taking more damage for those 3 turns. The fact that he gains elusive means he can't be targeted, so he can still do his damage and inflict his debuffs without having to worry to be downed. And accuracy down, we've seen this with Hai-chan. It's nice to see it again with Kage. It's always good to be able to influence if the enemy is going to hit you or not, because that could be a deciding factor in a battle. So let's move on to his passive, Hagakure Ninja. Kage sneaks into the shadows before each mission. At the start of each wave, Kage will gain elusive for 3 turns. While Kage has elusive, he gains bonus critical hit chance, and whenever Kage gains elusive, all star tiles become super star tiles. Now looking at this is where I believe Kage is a support, but he doesn't support the team, he supports himself pretty heavily. All of his attacks and his skills kind of support one another. Looking at this, the fact that he gains elusive at the start of a wave, usually this will be beneficial in a battle with various waves, so going into his event with him being amped and having elusive can really change the tide of battle, especially if you're going into that second wave with some star tiles, because they will all be converted to superstar tiles. And don't forget that that passive also comes into effect when you trigger his star skill. So when you trigger his star skill, he'll gain elusive, and if there is any star tiles on that board, that will become superstar tiles, which again is supporting the team when you think about it. He also gains a critical bonus hit chance. Now let's just note that this doesn't increase his critical hit damage, it just makes sure that he is more frequent with his critical hits. So pairing him with characters that have a critical hit chance and critical damage up will definitely benefit Kage. So we should move on to other characters you should be using with Kage. So you've got Kage as your yellow. Let's move on to a red. I think, me personally, I would take in BD Joe, because he will further increase that critical hit chance for Kage as well as the team. He also creates star tiles if any red tiles are destroyed from his max skill, and he has the ability to trigger Kage's or any other of the character's star skills, which will definitely help out. For a blue character, I think I'm going to stick with that small little Chewy, because he is going to be your healer. He is going to be creating star tiles, which is definitely going to benefit everything in Kage's passive, and the more star tiles on the board, the more effective Kage's abilities are going to be. And finishing off with a green, it is a tough one. You could take Hotsuma for more damage, you could take Axel for increasing the mana to ensure that the mana skills of the characters mentioned for Kage's team triggers faster, or you could go with someone like Chewbacca to create more star tiles, or throw a tank in there with Ren. It's completely your choice for green. Me personally, I'd probably take Hotsuma, because you've got 2 ninjas dealing some damage, supporting each other, and there is going to be nothing that stops you. So overall, Kage is a decent support. He supports the team just a smidgen, but he supports himself a lot more. Now when it comes to his max power, it stands at 144,372, so he's not the strongest character, but his max health is rocking at 454,772, so he is going to be around for a while. So Kage-Maru, definitely someone to try out during these upcoming events. Don't know if I'm going to be using him in my team, so the question to you guys is, what do you think of Kage? Is he worthy being in your team? Who do you suggest to use him with? Let me know in the comments section below. And on that note, I'll see you guys in 2 weeks for the next character overview, and until next time, I'll catch you on the flip side.